So recently I was talking to someone from Olfa. You know Olfa, right? They're the folks that make the cool rotary cutters and mats and all the different kinds of cutters and things for fabric and for quilters. Very well known in the fabric world. And we were talking about how Olfa may not be quite as popular in the paper world or mixed media, and we felt that was just tragic. And there's just no reason, because if it'll cut fabric, it'll cut paper, right? I mean, there's just no reason why we shouldn't be using this stuff on paper as well as fabric, because it's a good product. So she sent me a few things to play with, and one of them is this circle rotary cutter from Olfa, this little thing right here. And I took it out of the package and, you know, started playing with it a little bit. I've used a couple of different kinds of circle cutters before, and in my experience, they are generally not easy to use and kind of hit or miss on the results that you get. And I know a lot of us have die cutting machines now, you know, that we use to cut our shapes, our circles and stuff. And I have one. I have a Cricut, and sometimes I'll get it out and I will just cut tons and tons and tons of circles and shapes. But if you're like me, I don't have a place to keep my die cutter out, you know, so I have to clear space, get it out, use it, and then put it away. So I can't use it often. So if I need to cut, you know, one or two quick circles, it's not worth it to me to get out the whole machine. So this is actually, I think, going to be a really good solution. Now, it will cut, I should have read that package before I tossed it aside. Okay. It will cut circles from 1.5 inches to 8 3/4 inches in diameter. So that's, you know, a good size range. It says that it cuts cloth, leather, paper, vinyl, film, wallpaper, and more. It has a ratchet handle for circles in one fluid motion, reducing wrist fatigue. It's for right and left hand users. It has a blade cover for safety and the pivot spike for material stability to hold your thing. So this works pretty much like your standard compass type cutter. I am liking this better. I'm finding it easier to use because of the blade. It's got a rotary, you know, a round blade in there. And of course, Olfa has replacement blades for it. And this to me is easier to use than some of the other cutters that just have the standard, you know, blade thing. And okay, here's what it does. It's got this little cover for your little pokey thing. See, it's the sharp deal that you can stick down in the middle. And you use this little knob here to adjust the size of your circle. And this adjusts as well to make an even bigger circle. But you know, you don't need to mess with it if you're just making small ones. This is the handle you hold on to. This is the blade cover. If you can see, you just pull it up and back so the blade comes out. And to use it, this right here is how you switch out the blade. You change the blade. And it came with a diagram that shows you, so it wasn't difficult to figure out. So let me show you. Let me see if I can cut a couple circles. I've got a piece of, this is some coffee dyed paper that I'm going to put over here. And what I'm going to do, this is easier for me because if you're doing fabric, you can usually get it to kind of grab hold of your cutting mat and not move around too much. Paper, it's going to slide. That's what it does. So it sometimes helps, I have to do it straight, if you just kind of clip it onto something just to keep it from slipping out from under you too badly. And then you can, let's just make a little circle here, about that big. And what you do is you just take the pokey thing, kind of stick it down make sure, yeah. And then I had to watch the video to get because there was a little bit of a learning curve here, but they have some great videos showing exactly how to use some of their tools. And I watched the video. The girl said to start at 7 o'clock. So start at 7 o'clock and that's it. You get a circle. It's like I said, you have to do 3 or 4 before you get the feel right, because I want to turn my wrist, and you know, like you do those compass cutters, you kind of have to turn your wrist and push the thing around. This you really don't have to. Let's do another one. You just put it down, and sometimes I'll grab this thing and help it go around because I really don't need to. I just have trust issues. But I do like to hold on to the paper to make sure it doesn't slip. And then you can seriously cut through text weight paper with just one hand. You get a perfect circle. Now I have cut through, I practiced on several different kinds of paper. I did some like a magazine paper and some envelopes and some more coffee dyed paper. And I even did packaging. This was a cake mix box. It cut just fine. I did have to go around 2 or 3 times because I don't have a lot of strength in my wrist. I couldn't really push down. But I went down around 2 or 3 times and it stayed true. As long as this little thing, you know, stays put and you don't move it, then it will make a true circle even if you go round and round several times. So I was impressed with that. So I'm really kind of liking this for a circle cutter to have on hand, and it will cut fabric. I think that's what it was meant for. But I'm telling you, it cuts paper great. It just really seriously couldn't be easier. Stick that little pokey thing in there, and then go around. And you can see my wrist didn't have to twist. You just do this, and that's it. So, okay, there we go. Easy breezy, right? Circles are one of my favorite shapes. I just don't know why. There's just something about their shape that I don't know. I just find soothing and appealing. So I cut some circles, a couple circles, and made a circle tag. Kind of a vintage bug theme. And I will show you how I did this. First of all, I took some Olfa packaging. This was for one of the rotary cutters. And I cut me a couple circles out using my handy dandy rotary circle cutter. So you can see, cut them out perfectly. So let's use one of those. And I have also cut out some images. I just cut the same one that I did for that. It's got this bee or bug or fly or whatever it is. I don't even know. But I like it. It's cute. And I don't know where I got the image. If you Google vintage insect printables, you can find you some bugs too. And then I printed it out on coffee dyed paper. And I'm really, really loving this, y'all, because look, it just makes them look, some of them already have kind of a vintage look to them, but some of them don't. But if you print it out on the coffee dyed paper, they just automatically look extra vintage and awesome. So I have a nature themed thing coming up. That one I printed out specially for Rosemary Morris. I'm going to give that to her. But look at these. So yeah, print on your coffee dyed paper because it is something special. So that's what that is. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paint my thing here. My little circle. And I'm going to use some brown acrylic. This is burnt umber Americana paint. should do this right. Let's pretend that I put it on there before I put it here, because that's what I should have done to be all, you know, proper. This packaging has some glossy on one side and some not glossy on the other. So, you know, your stuff's going to stick better on one side than it is the other, but that's okay. You can use your heat gun to kind of help this dry on the glossy. Now, let's put just a little bit of, this is Matisse Flow in Southern Ocean Blue, which is phthalo turquoise. And then we're just going to add some of this, just so that it's not all brown. I love vintage looking stuff, but oh man, sometimes the brown is just too much. It's overwhelming. Now let's take some, this is Daler Rowney Buff Titanium in their System 3 from the clearance rack at Hobby Lobby. Maybe rinse a little bit, and I've got where'd I put it? Dress pattern. Piece of a dress pattern here that I can put on there. And since this is still wet with glue or with paint, I really don't need to even put any glue down. I can just do that. Tear off some of the excess. There we are. Now, I can do the same thing on this side. I'm going to add a little more brown because I've kind of rubbed it all off. And I've got some little Mod Podge put on here because I don't have very much paint, wet paint on here. And some more dress pattern. Tear off some of the excess because you don't want it to get all bulky on the other side. I suppose you could use your circle cutter and cut circles out of it so that it fits just right, but yeah, see, I just now thought of that. So, whoopsie. Okay, now I've got just a really cool kind of painty mixed media looking disc that we can glue stuff on. So let's let this dry for a minute. Now, once your circle is dry on both sides, you can use your rubber stamps and put like a background stamp texture on it. So I've got some Fresco ink. I don't even know if this is available anymore, and I seriously doubt that it's actually Fresco ink that's in there. I have a really bad habit of re-inking my ink pads with totally different inks and brands. So this is likely probably a color box chalk ink color. You know, I don't know. I've had these forever. Even the stamp I'm using, can't tell you who made it. Let's back up a little bit. I have a feeling it's probably either Lost Coast or Stamp Out Cute, and are they still even making stamps anymore? I am not sure. But it's just a collage-y image. You can use one that has a background, like a texture or pattern or just whatever. But this has a couple of flowers on it and then some text and stuff. So I'm going to ink it up with this probably chalk ink stuff. And then I'm gonna stamp that. like that. Pretty cool. I'm gonna dry that. Chalk inks are usually permanent after you heat set them. So let's dry it. And once that's dry, we'll stamp the other side. I'm gonna use the same giant stamp here and just ink up another part of it. And just do it like that. And again, heat it up. Okay, so that is really kind of super cool all on its own. But then you can decide which one you want for the front, which one you want for the back, and then glue on your little whatever image that you chose for it. And I think what I'm going to do is take some of this mystery ink here and a brush and just kind of distress the edges. You can use one of those sponge blender things. I just don't have one. So this is working just fine. That looks really nice. Now I can take that and stick it onto my other circle. And I can just pick which side I want it on. I don't know which side I want it on. They both look a little different, you know? They're like good either way. I've got two good sides. I think I want it on this one. And you can put it on with Mod Podge. I did that on one of these that I did earlier, and I got a little overzealous with, you know, rubbing it in, and the ink smeared. I just went totally brain dead, smeared it to death. So I'm going to use Helmar Craft and Hobby PVA glue. So this is your basic white glue, like Elmer's, that kind of thing. Just going to eyeball it and get it on there about right. And this on its own just makes a really cool, like a focal point, you know, if you have a something that you need a something on, this is an excellent something for that. See, look, isn't that something? So you can just stop here and make it just a medallion that you can use for a focal image. I mean, it's really almost an ornament if I hadn't laid it down and got stuff stuck to it, but you know, because it's two-sided. Or you can do like I did the other one and make it a tag by using your hole puncher thing to punch a hole. And then you can use one of these eyelet thingies. I'm out of black, so I'm going to use silver. In there. And then use this one again, and then hold your breath, because it is always hit or miss with this thing with me. Sometimes they set perfectly, and then other times they get gnarled up like you would not believe. Oh, it worked kinda. Still not sure I have it on the right setting there, but okay, it's good enough. So there's that, and then I've got some little strings here. So there is our circle tag made with our rotary circle cutter from Olfa. I will put a link down below so you can go check out Olfa. Oh, and full disclosure, you know, like I said, she sent me this stuff. I did not pay for it, But y'all know me. I'm not going to talk about it if I don't like it, right? So yes, I do like it. It worked really well. It was easy. Like I said, it took me, a good 3 or 4 times to kind of get the hang of it. But then once I did, it's just a super easy way to cut a circle if you don't have a die cutter out that's convenient. This really does work. So there you go. And if you make some circle tags, then go to the Facebook group. There's a link to my Facebook group below in the video description. Join us there and post some pictures, because I want to see, y'all always have better ideas than I do. I want to see what you do with your circles. Okay? Okay. All right. The end.